Hey there, Dun Dolphins. Mr. Murphy, here with my wife, Stephanie.
Hey.
So, November 11th is Veterans Day, and we're just here to talk to you a little bit about what it means to be a veteran, and as well as just a couple other things with the military. So, a veteran is anybody that served in the armed forces, whether that's Air Force or Army or Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, etc. So, anybody that served in the military is considered a veteran. There is a more specific classification, war veteran, or also known as combat veteran, which we both are. It's anybody that has served in a war or combat. We were both in Iraq in 2003, which is actually how we met. We were both redeploying through Kuwait and met at a foosball table, of all things. But when you see all that Buffalo Bill stuff from Mr. Murphy, that's because of this girl right here. Um, so one thing I one thing I wanted to say about the military is that there are a lot of jobs, and in many ways, the military at large is a lot like a city because in the military you can be a medical professional, you can do radios and communication, you can be a police officer, you can be a lawyer, you can be a mechanic, you can help with supply. So the military,
Pilot.
you can be a pilot. Thank you. What else that I'm forgetting?
Oh, no. Submarinist.
Submarinist. Hold on, I dropped my penny. That's important. Um, so the military is a whole lot more than just picking up a gun and shooting and stuff. In fact, that's just a very, very small part of it. And most people that join the military, they join because they want to serve their country and serve others, not because they want to go to war and shoot guns. So, with that said, one other thing, in honor of my buddy Darren, I did want to go over if you happen to go visit the grave of a fallen soldier, somebody that was killed in combat or just died of natural causes. But if you go visit the grave of somebody that was in the military, you might see a coin on their grave. Okay, and so if you see a penny, that's a penny. If you see a penny, okay, on the gravestone of a soldier, that means that somebody just came and visited him. All right. That's why my buddy Darren, maybe like if he's got an aunt or uncle that comes and visits him, they might leave a penny. If you see a nickel, okay, that means that somebody was there that visited him that trained with them, okay, in basic training or AIT. All
Which is
right.
their school training.
Yes, that's your school. That's like college for the military in a way.
Yep.
It's not a service academy, but it's just, you know. Yes, thank you.
It's where
And
you learn your job.
there you go. And then if you see a dime, which this is what I leave on Darren's grave when I go see him, a dime means that you served with the person. Okay. And then if you ever see a quarter, you ever see a quarter on the gravestone of a military person, what that means is that somebody that was there with them the day that they were killed in action was came for a visit. So if you ever see a quarter, that's a big deal. So anyway, quick review: penny means somebody just came for a visit. A nickel means somebody trained with that person. A dime means that someone was serving with that person when they were killed in combat, and then a quarter means that somebody came to visit that was with them when they were killed in action. Okay? So now I'm going to do a quick interview of the most amazing person I've ever met. So my first question, Major Murphy, when you were in Iraq, what was your job?
So I've always worked medical. So Ryan or Mr. Murphy was talking about how there's a lot of different jobs. When I joined the military, my biggest thing was I didn't want to have to hurt anybody, so I didn't want to have to shoot anybody, and I always wanted to do medical anyways. So I've always had medical jobs in the military, various medical jobs. So I used to be what's called a surgical tech, and that's where you kind of assist the surgeon in surgery. You hand them instruments while they're trying to take care of somebody. So when I was in Iraq, I took care of people whose lives were in danger. They were bleeding out or having a lot of trouble, and we tried to save their lives. Some we saved and some we didn't, but that was our job, was to save as many lives as we could, to give them the best chance that they could to make it home to their families. So that's what I did in Iraq.
And Major Murphy here is also at the moment activated. She's currently on active duty orders. Excuse me, with the 123rd over at the 123rd Air Wing, and so she's doing that through the end of the year. So Major Murphy, tell them what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I should say I was Army when I was a surgical.
Yes, there you go.
I was Army and I was enlisted, and then I transferred to the Air Force and eventually got my degree, and now I'm an officer. That's why he keeps calling me Major. So that's the 4th rank as an officer. It's called Officer 404. And now I'm what's called a physician assistant. A lot of people around here know a similar job would be a nurse practitioner, although not exactly the same, very similar. So essentially I'm a physician assistant. The unit that I'm in is called the SURF-P, and we actually take care of nationwide emergencies. So we wouldn't necessarily go overseas to care for veterans overseas. We would respond to a natural disaster like a hurricane, or if a building fell or something like that. We have medics who are trained to go into those buildings and pull out patients, and then they would bring them to me and the doctors and the nurses. And once again, we would try to stabilize their injury, save their life, whatever they needed to try to get them off to a hospital to get them better taken care of. But we're going to take care of any life-threatening issues immediately. What I'm doing currently is all COVID stuff. So they needed me on base to help essentially keep COVID off of base. So I'm in charge of keeping up with all the stats for COVID-19 and then putting that into different policies on base and making sure that everybody is washing their hands and wearing their masks and watching their distance, so they're social distancing. I'm in charge of all that and keeping that base safe from COVID-19. So a lot of military members and veterans don't just, like he said, shoot people or that kind of thing. In fact, that's usually the last thing that we want to do. Our biggest goal is to keep people safe in various ways, and I just do that through the medical portion. That's all.
Right. Cool. That's it. So thank you for listening, and hopefully you learned something of value today. Love y'all. Proud of you all. I hope to see you real soon. Take care.